Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, one of the best attractions at Disney World just closed for good.
Also, why I'm so happy about this local headline.
All that and more on the way next. People are mad at Jeff Bezos. 8772 Radio U. What are they mad at Jeffrey Bezos for this time? Well, in New York City, he had a stretch of Fifth Avenue closed. That's a pretty major street there in New York City. Every street in New York City is a major street.
Seriously, yeah.
He had a stretch of the street, Fifth Avenue, closed down so that he could get furniture delivered to his penthouse using a crane.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and nobody knows what the furniture is either. It is concealed. You can see it swinging from the crane there, but it is packaged so that you have no idea what it is. So there's lots of speculation about what that furniture is. And it's just inconvenient for people not being able to use Fifth Avenue the way they normally would be able to because one of the richest people in the world is like, I need a new hot tub or whatever this is.
Right, exactly. Yeah, this is just like, well, I mean, it shows the money he has to be able to even pull something like this off.
Yeah.
Shut a street down in New York City, get a crane, have furniture that's like big enough and bougie enough that needs to be lifted up through a crane. Like live in a penthouse, so you have to have have to go up several flights of stairs or whatever to be able to get furniture up there. So all of it is just like, it's just like in your face too much.
Yeah.
You're like, we already know Jeff Bezos is rich, but like this is really in our face.
It is shining a big light on it. But I'm a little disappointed.
Why?
Like, he's Jeff Bezos from Amazon Prime. I thought it would be like, a drone delivering it, or, he's got whatever his rocket company is called, that maybe just a rocket would just drop it right in.
Blue Origin.
That he just has to go the old-fashioned crane route. Like, what good is his money if he can't have something fancier than a crane deliver his furniture?
I don't know. I feel like cranes are as fancy as it gets with furniture delivery. I don't know if I will ever have that done for me.
Yeah, I guess even if I do get furniture delivered with a crane one day, I feel like that would be that's a pretty good flex. But I'm not mad. Obviously I don't live in New York City on Fifth Avenue, but I just think, if you live in a neighborhood, especially one where maybe everybody doesn't have a driveway, then if somebody's moving in, they could, for all intents and purposes, be shutting down the street because they got to park their moving truck there, unload everything. There's some businesses where they do this all the time.
Yep.
Where the delivery truck pulls up and it has to park on the street.
Yep.
It has like a designated spot, but it like takes up the whole street. So this happens all the time. This is just the really, really, really rich version of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing because we have a street right near here, our studio here for Radio U, and I think there's been several times where it's been either a business with a truck near it that, like you have to go around it, or somebody moving in and there's like not a driveway. And so the moving truck has to be on the road. And like the road's wide enough that you could get around, but it is still an inconvenience. So yeah, there's plenty of examples of this happening with everyday regular people, but this is certainly the most extreme with a non-regular person.
And it's in your face, and it's worse because you know who it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like it's a random moving truck blocking the street, you're like, but if you knew that moving truck was moving in Jeff Bezos, you'd probably be like, I hate him. Now you have somebody to blame. It's not just a moving truck, it's a moving truck with a face.
Right.
And a face that many people don't like anyways. So but I'm not mad at you for this, Jeffrey Bezos. I'll let you off the hook.
Okay.
Yeah, he's okay in my book. Those people in your life that like maybe you're talking to them kind of romantically, maybe a relationship is starting to blossom, things seem to be going well, and then they disappear for a while, they ghost you. But then a few months later, all of a sudden they just slide right back into your DMs like nothing ever happened. 8772 Radio U. Now there's a name for those people.
Okay.
You can call them out because I know I've definitely experienced this. Maybe I've been this person.
Really?
Maybe I have.
Oh, no.
And now I know what I was being back then. I was being a submariner.
Submariner.
Submariner. The idea that, you disappear beneath the surface and then you resurface once again. Like, I don't know. There was nothing else to that.
That's the title of it.
You drop down below and then you come right back.
Eventually.
Looking exactly the same. Yeah, that is now what dating experts are calling. Sometimes they say these may be known as zombie daters as well, but I think Submariner sounds much better. I think
I like the Submariner name as well. And I think this is something, unfortunately, that happens. It's happened to me before, too, where suddenly, like you're talking to somebody and maybe you're talking to them for several weeks, maybe several months, who knows? And then all of a sudden it either like fizzles out or they just disappear and like you don't talk to each other for several months, weeks, whatever they go by. And then suddenly you see a notification from them and they act as if it's all back to normal. Nothing happened in the past few months that they haven't talked to you.
I mean, I feel like this could have been me. I definitely feel like I could have been a submariner at some point. And because it'd be weird. You feel bad hopping right back into the DMs, but then also you're like, but am I supposed to like explain why I disappeared? Maybe there wasn't even a good reason. It's just like, you get busy or whatever. And then you're like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that person? She was kind of cute. And so this is what happens. It's not a good behavior, which is why I do have a problem with this name.
Okay.
I don't like when they make poor dating trends sound so cool.
Yeah, like they give them a fun, cool name.
Yeah.
It's almost like when they give like the serial killers like an epic name, and it's like, why are you making them sound cool? They're serial killers.
Yeah, like that being. I'm not just a bad guy. I'm a submariner.
Submariner. Yeah. I will say, though, I do think there's some caveats here because there was one time where I definitely shut it down as far as like, I'm not dealing with this again, not talking to this guy again after, trying to come back and pretend as if nothing happened or like try and get back to where we were before that ghosting initially had happened. But there was also a time where it was kind of something where it fizzled on both ends, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the guy reached out to me maybe a couple months later. It wasn't like 6 months or something, but a couple months later. And it was just something where like he swiped up on a story and said something. And so it kind of naturally flowed into conversation once again. So I feel like there's some instances where you could probably let this happen and it would be okay. But for the most part, I think this is more showing that they're just maybe a little bit lonely, maybe looking for some attention.
And that they were flaky at first, too. Yeah. Like if they lost interest, or I can definitely imagine that they saw some greener pastures at first. You're the submariner. You're like, oh, I'm talking to this person. Oh, but what about that person? And so you ghost the one person. That's not a good scenario.
No.
And then once that doesn't work out and then you come back to your backup plan
right.
And act like nothing ever happened, that's not good behavior.
Exactly. And that's why I shut the one down because it truly did feel like I was on the back burner for this guy. And then suddenly he realized how great I was. No, I don't. Suddenly he wanted to, pursue something again. And I was like, no. I'm not a second option over here. And I wasn't just waiting for you to come back around. So I feel like for the most part, you need to shut these type of things down.
Sometimes people change or like their thoughts just change or, they realize something. But if you want to be the submariner.
Right.
I mean, I don't think you want to be, but if you're ready to resurface with somebody, you just got to be ready to at least explain yourself.
Right.
It can't just be where you just disappeared for 6 months.
And then pretend like you didn't.
Yeah. You gotta have something to say for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the truth. The world's largest indoor pickleball facility is about to open. And Allie, it's going to be right next door. Thanks to Tim for emailing this in to mornings@radiou.com. Tim sent this in. The Match Point Pickleball Club is set to open later this year near the RadioU studios in Columbus. The operations manager and head pro, his name is Bill Taylor, says that this is going to be the largest indoor pickleball facility the world has ever seen.
Wow.
Putting it that way sounds so funny to me.
Why?
If you say the world has ever seen, you're either a supervillain or you sound like you're wearing a top hat like you're some kind of fledgling inventor.
A tad bit outdated.
Yeah. I don't know. It just sounds
It does sound a little weird. Yeah, but I don't care about how it sounds.
But the idea isn't kooky. Yeah, it's the largest, fastest growing sport in America.
Yeah, it is also just so awesome that this is going to be right in our backyard.
Yeah. Now you'll have a pickleball home.
Well, there's
plenty
of places I play pickleball nearby, so I am not at a lack of that.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, it is the fastest growing sport in America, and so I feel like going to see more and more of these places pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Like so many local parks are doing it now with outdoor courts, and there's plenty of businesses that have these. I mean, there's just everybody's doing it.
You know, it's crazy that while this is about to open with 38 indoor courts, it may quickly be surpassed very shortly because there's also a 50-court facility that's been proposed in Phoenix that's supposed to open next year.
Wow.
So Columbus will probably only have the
title for so long.
The moniker of largest indoor pickleball court facility for about a year or so, which this is just going to tip off the pickleball races.
Yeah.
As more and more extravagant pickleball courts will be built across the country, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we know that that'll be like Dubai that holds like the most or whatever eventually. But this is also really cool as a Buckeye fan because the design of the court is scarlet and gray.
Oh, man, this is so perfect. You're going to meet so many pickle people. You're just going to have you're going to go not just to play. I feel like you're going to go to just socialize.
I mean, that's
with all
what
these
I
people
already
that think
do.
the exact same way you do.
Exactly. That's what I already do when I go play pickleball. It really is a perfect environment to like have fun, stay active, and also, talk with friends, get to know people. It's perfect for all of those things.
And now this will have you covered no matter the weather. I'm also seeing that it's going to include 2 combo paddle and pickleball courts, golf simulators, putting areas, locker rooms, a pro shop, and a 2-story restaurant.
Really? Okay, that's actually kind of cool that it has all of that included.
Yeah, there's more to this massive indoor pickleball club than just pickleball.
Okay. Well, you can go play pickleball and go get dinner.
Mm-hmm. I every time, this is one thing that I do have a tough time with like some sports, is you walk into a place like this and when you open the doors that it's just going to smell. I know this from growing up playing hockey.
Okay.
You walk into a rink, or like if you played indoor soccer, you open up the door and it just has the smell of like all the BO that has not been able to be scrubbed out over the years. So this will probably smell great the day it opens, but I don't think it'll take long before you just get like that smell that you're like, man, I wish it didn't. That's the one thing I don't love about it.
There is already an indoor pickleball facility in Columbus. It's called Pickle and Chill. And every time I've gone there, I've never had that experience.
You never had that?
No.
You're
but
blind.
I do know what you're talking about, though, because there's been several, like the old gyms or whatever. Like you walk into at a school and you're like, oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Every single one I've ever been in. I don't know how that works. And over here, racquetball is just being like, what's pickleball got that we ain't got? I feel like the racket community has got to be very disappointed. Well, it looks like AMC is going to be adding even more commercials to your movie-going experience. 877-2-RADIO-U. This is an announcement they just made. People are upset about this.
Okay.
Starting July 1st, if you go to an AMC theater, they are adding what they call, this is their words, a platinum spot to its pre-movie commercials. Sounds luxurious. Sounds like if you're an advertiser, you might want to pay extra to have that platinum spot.
Yeah.
And if you're a movie goer, you might want to delay arriving at the theater even a little later than you already do, because that's another stretch of commercial that's going to be added in addition to all the trailers. And if I'm understanding this right, if you go to AMC, which is not my typical theater, you already you get like Coke ads.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like they don't do other kinds of ads. They kind of have like a set list of ad partners that are just routine.
Yeah.
But they don't just do ads to just anybody.
Right.
Like some other theaters do, but now AMC is going to start doing that.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I feel like theaters are being forced into this because ever since COVID, like they just are not getting the same draw as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to make money somehow, and advertising is a way to do that.
Yeah, that's one way. This also, but of course people are complaining like,
Sure.
you know,
Sure.
who wants more ads in their lives? And also I saw over the weekend that famous director Martin Scorsese of The Irishman and The Departed and so many great films, he says that he doesn't like going to the theater anymore. And you're talking about like a lot of the famous film directors have been very precious. Christopher Nolan, Steven Spielberg about like, oh, we have to keep releasing movies in theaters.
Theaters, yeah.
Martin Scorsese doesn't seem to care as much. But his problem is not the ads. He says that it's the people being disrespectful in theaters, being
overall
on their
experience.
Yeah, being on their phone. It's the other moviegoers that are the problem for him. The getting up to get snacks and drinks and go to the bathroom and being on their phones and talking and whatever. And to him, I say maybe we wouldn't need to get up to go to the bathroom if your movies weren't so long. But this all leads me to this one question, right? People are not going to the movies as much as they used to. If you could wave, as a person, if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the movie experience that would make you go more often, what would it be? Something that the theaters that would theoretically have control over, not like, oh, I'd have a babysitter or whatever. Like,
Right.
what would you change about the theaters that would make you more likely to go to the movies?
I love movies. I'm a big, cinephile, if that's what you want to call it, whatever. I love watching movies. I love the art of film. So if I had an option to go to the movies cheaper, I would go more often.
Yeah.
My biggest issue is that every time I feel like I'm going to a theater, I'm dropping way too much cash. Because I'm not the type of person that likes to go to the movie and not get the snacks.
Yeah.
I've never been like that. And I guess I got spoiled because I grew up in a country where it was very cheap to go to the movies and very cheap to get popcorn and whatnot. And so I'm used to that. But I just don't go to the movies very often because I want to be able to get a popcorn. I want to be able to get a drink. And now if I want to go do that, I'm spending like now $10, $15 on a movie ticket and then add another 15 or something for, popcorn and a drink. So you're spending like $30, $40 just to go see one movie.
For one person.
Yeah. That's crazy. So if it was cheaper, I think I would go more often.
Jamie is with you. She says, if they lower prices, I'd go all the time. All right. 8772 Radio U. Is there anything else? Because I know that there's lots of complaints about movie theaters.
Sure.
So I would love to hear if you've got a suggestion. 8772 Radio U. We'll have a little mini focus group here for the movie theaters to try to help them out. What would you change about going to movies that would make you go more often, make you more likely to go? And I feel like we do have a lot of agreement here that the problem is the prices are just too dang high.
Yeah, too much.
Thomas says, got to agree with Allie. The prices of movies and of movie tickets and snacks have pretty much doubled in the last 15 years or so, it feels like. And popcorn and soda profit margins must be insane. They're not that expensive.
Exactly. It's fountain drinks. It's fountain drinks. Like you can't even argue that it's like prepackaged bottled soda. And so, he's absolutely right there. Popcorn is not expensive. Fountain drinks should not be expensive. And so the fact that we're paying that much shows you that this is the only way that these movie theaters can make money.
Yeah.
Is by charging a huge amount on these snacks.
And I feel like although at the end of the day, if they drop the ticket prices more, that would get me to go more. But the outrageous, in-your-face pricing of any concession, especially when it's not worth it for, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not even...
It's not even the best popcorn you've had in your life.
Yeah, it's not out of this world good food.
Yeah.
In fact, it's usually subpar except for the popcorn and soda, which you can't really mess up.
Yeah.
It makes me not want to ever spend any money on concessions.
Right, exactly.
Even though I want to support I want them to stay in business. I love going to the movies.
It's same.
But I still can't justify $20 for a popcorn bucket. even if it does look like Galactus's head or whatever.
Right.
Alex says the prices of tickets are agreement here. Why is a ticket $18? A guy took me on a date at an AMC and it was $18 per person. It is crazy.
That is absolutely nuts that it ever got that expensive. And she also does mention, which my local theater now has a policy in place for this. I don't know if it's just for the summer, but she said, hot take, the teenagers and kids coming in and being loud, I feel like they need to start making it mandatory for all children, even like to be with a guardian or to not be allowed after a certain time by themselves. And my theater that's like local to me has made that mandatory.
She says, I'm 24 and I'm already tired of teenagers and I used to be one of those kids.
I feel like as soon as you like age out of being a teenager, you're already tired of teenagers.
Yeah, I haven't experienced that, but I don't know. I also think I'm pretty patient.
Yeah.
Because I just know how dumb you can be.
Yeah.
When you're in middle school or whatever.
It's true. I haven't had any personally very bad experiences. I've had annoying experiences with like people on their phone. But I think a lot of theaters are putting in policies like this after a Minecraft movie.
Chris, yeah, I think that's so specific, but especially, it depends on the movie you choose.
Yeah.
When I go see Mission Impossible, I feel like I'm less likely to be dealing with annoying kids. Chris says, I don't have a suggestion, but in regards to snacks, I work at a Dollar Tree 5 minutes from a theater. The weekends of big releases, we are basically the alternate concession stand.
100%. Yeah, I know some people
totally
that do that.
I've totally done that, and I don't even feel bad about it.
I mean, at this point, how can you feel bad about it when you have to pay so much just to get in?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I first moved back, I probably would have been the person that's like, absolutely not. This is, you can't do this to the movie theaters. But now I'm like, I got to do whatever I can just to survive out here.
I don't feel good about it, but also you'd have to be a doofus to pay $6 for the box of the cookie dough bites when you can get it for $1.25 at Dollar Tree.
Absolutely.
You got to be out of your mind.
Yeah.
So I think this is plain and simple, and I'm sure the movie theaters know this, and they just can't do it, or they'd all go out of business.
And yeah, that's the problem.
Because we wouldn't go enough to cancel out how much money they'd be losing.
Right. That's the problem. Is it's like they have to make money somehow to stay in business.
Jacob says, I have the AMC A-List Pass, which is like their answer to Movie Pass after Movie Pass fizzled out. He gets to see 4 movies a week for $24 a month.
Wow, that's actually... What?
But
a week?
Yeah. That's a good
deal.
Yeah. I would never go. I mean, even I love movies. I don't think I could go see 4 movies
I don't
a
think
week
I could
in
go
theaters.
for a week, but if you go 4 times a month, you're definitely getting more a bang out of your buck.
For $24 a month, you'd have to go twice.
Right, like that's 2 tickets.
Yeah. Can I talk myself into this? Starting to wonder. After game 1 where the Pacers broke me, I think they broke a lot of us. 8772 Radio U in the NBA Finals, where the Pacers just made you feel like you can never go to bed when there's an NBA playoff game on.
Honestly.
But last night was an exception. The Thunder got up big and never relinquished a lead in Oklahoma City last night to even the series at 1 game apiece. So we're going back to Indiana for the next game, which is all the way on Wednesday for some reason, tied at 1-1.
Yeah, I feel like this series is going 7. I know you think it's going to be a quick series, but even in this dominant win from OKC, I think you still saw several moments where this is probably more evenly matched than we realized. Because OKC had a lot of dominant wins throughout the playoffs where they would score like 150 points and like beat their team that they were playing by 50 or something. And even in this, they weren't able to they were able to win, but not by that amount. And I think a lot of us thought they were going to win by a huge amount. And so, obviously give them props for coming back and winning game 2. That's great. But I have to still give Indiana props for stealing a game in Oklahoma City, because that's exactly what you need to do heading back home to Indiana.
Yep, the series starts when the road team wins. So obviously the series got started after game 1, but I feel like you're talking with Pacers colored glasses on last night because it was never close. It was never after the first quarter. It was never like actually in doubt that the Thunder were going to win, only because we saw the Pacers pull an improbable comeback in game one. Was there any doubt? But I mean, like,
well, I just mean what we had seen from them in their dominant wins before this game was like really, really dominant. So I think the way I judge a dominant win from the Thunder is a little bit different than this one because, I mean, I'm used to them scoring like 150.
So you're holding them to a much higher standard.
Well, I think we all thought they were.
Because they're that much better than everybody else.
I think we all thought they were going to go off like that and score 150 points. They didn't need to. They won with 123, and that's still impressive enough. But I like I said, I think this is a more evenly matched series than people are giving it credit for.
I'm looking at like the win probability, and it was never like below 92% after the second. It got to 92% in the second quarter and never changed after that.
Yeah, no, they absolutely they won this game in all facets for sure. I'm not trying to say that they didn't, but I'm just saying like there's no reason why I think that this makes me believe that this series is now over and OKC has won it because they won this game this way. They were motivated to win this game for sure after losing the first one in a heartbreaking way. But that's just kind of what the Pacers seem to be able to do. But I think once we see how these two games go in Indianapolis, we'll really have a better picture of how this series is going to play out.
Yeah, we'll know that it's truly over once game 4 is done. I have a viral TikTok here that's honestly making me feel so self-conscious. 8772 RadioU. It's an Instacart shopper.
Okay.
So this hits close to home because I get all of my groceries normally. I don't do Instacart, but I get the
click list.
Yeah,
through Kroger.
Yeah, where it's dumped in your trunk. And in this particular case, this TikTok is a woman shopping. And she's doing an order where the customer's ordered Hebrew National hot dogs and $6 for 6 hot dogs. In the TikTok, it says, I was trying to help my Instacart order save some money on hot dogs, but she didn't want them. And it shows, she says, y'all really out here spending $6 for 6 hot dogs. And then she shows the Bar S Classic Franks for $1.48 per package. She was trying to help out this person that wanted Hebrew National and but was rejected.
Yes.
I feel a little less bad about my own self because this is what my fear is that every shopper at Kroger that's picking up my groceries
is judging you.
Is judging like this guy eats this unhealthy or whatever. But if they were going to criticize my hot dog choice, I would stand my ground on.
Yeah. What do you go for?
Hebrew National is a fine brand.
Yeah.
I think Oscar Mayer is the top choice to me.
Do you go for beef franks?
It has to be all beef.
I was going to say beef is the way to go.
Yeah.
But I will point out, because this TikTok did go really viral, lots of people in the comments mentioning like you can't compare these, totally different brands. And also like don't judge, this is your job. Don't judge a person and don't try to convince them to get something else. That's not your job. You're just
not a salesman.
Right. You're just supposed to shop for them. You're not a salesman for
you get a
Bar
commission?
S. Yeah. But somebody else pointed out, and this is the first thought that came to mind for me, was Hebrew National follows kosher dietary restrictions.
Yeah.
What if this family was Jewish?
That's a good point.
And you're trying to convince them to buy a hot dog that's not kosher.
Yeah.
Like, just don't try this.
No, this is tough. You keep your judgment inside your own mind. And to be fair, if I was a Kroger clicklist shopper or an Instacart shopper, I would definitely be judging people's orders.
Sure.
But I wouldn't be trying to convince them to buy other stuff. I'd just be like, look at this clown.
Right. And
in my mind.
I think I've never done Instacart, but I think the more the expensive the order is, or it may be by weight, I don't know, but the more expensive the order is, I think the more money you make as the shopper. So, hey, if they're wanting to spend more bucks on hot dogs, that's helping you out.
Yeah, you actually do kind of get a commission in a way. Like, let them waste their money if that's what you think they're doing. My favorite comment, and this is so accurate, said that you're comparing a Mercedes-Benz to a Chevy Cavalier. That's being kind to Bar S hot dogs. That is being kind, because Chevy Cavalier's kind of dependable, at least, like they stood the test of time for several years.
Right.
The Bar S I guess in a way they have too, because they're still making them, but that's for like the worst Little League baseball cookout parties at the end of the year where you have to buy 80 hot dogs to feed 20 kids.
Right.
You shouldn't be, but no family, no individual, self-respecting person should be in their own personal grocery shop, maybe buying Bar S hot dogs.
Well, now we're the ones who are judging
we are. Maybe you just really want to save money.
I don't think you should judge people on their hot dog choices. I do agree that you should go with the all beef. Those are truly the best. But whatever brand you want to go with is fine.
I guess, we have turned around. We're lurking in the mirror now.
Yes.
At this Instacart shopper.
Yeah.
It's us staring back. It's a sad day at Disney's Hollywood Studios on Saturday this weekend, because that was the last day for Muppet Vision 3D. We just did Muppets First to Worst. We love the Muppets here on the show. And I didn't realize that they were getting rid of Muppet Vision 3D at Disney World for good. It's gone. It's done. You missed it.
I think I did see that this was happening like a few months ago, that they were shutting this down. And I was like, why? A lot of people were confused why, because it's still a popular thing to go to.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was, low attendance or something, unless that's what they're claiming. But I feel like when I originally saw this, so many fans were like, what?
Yeah.
In true shock that this was going away.
Muppet Vision was amazing. I was young when I went to Disney World most of the times. And so there's a lot of things I've forgotten about.
Yeah.
I really didn't forget about Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah.
I remember the first time going, being scared because I was scared of all the 3D stuff. I was like 6 years old, and so give me a break. But after that, obviously I loved Muppet Vision 3D, and I can't believe that they're getting, what could possibly be better? I think they are replacing it with a Monsters, Inc. something.
Okay.
And Monsters, Inc. is great. But why can't we have both?
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like we continually talk about this anytime we mention updates to the park, where they have to shut this down or they have to move this or do whatever. Like, they have clearly very limited space, and they're just trying to make the best of what they have. But in my opinion, this is not making the best of what they have. This is getting rid of one of their best attractions.
They feel pressure to keep it fresh and different, and to add new stuff to keep people going back that have already been, to be like, oh, but I didn't see the Monsters, Inc. thing. And that's all understandable.
All I'm saying,
but there's still some things that you just don't mess with, and one of them is the Muppets.
Exactly. And all I'm saying is that little break in the air conditioning is a lifesaver. So this Monsters, Inc. replacement better be indoors.
And a lot of the air conditioning stuff did suck back in the day. The Hall of Presidents, boring. What's the Carousel of Progress or whatever? Oh my gosh. Muppet Vision was actually entertaining.
It was actually fun.
It wasn't a nap in the middle of the day. It was like you were looking forward to it. And now it's gone. And I'm sure the Monsters, Inc. thing will be fine.
Yeah.
It's Monsters, Inc. How bad could it be? But that you don't have to sacrifice Muppet Vision 3D.
Right.
It is sweet that the person that went in, one of the people that went in for the last showing, was Jim Henson's daughter herself, Heather Henson.
Aww.
She's rarely seen out doing stuff in public like this, but she did go ahead and participate in the last showing of Muppet Vision 3D. So at least there's that sweet moment to say goodbye to it. But you know what? We didn't need that sweet moment. We should not have to say goodbye.
Yeah, we shouldn't have.
Disney, why are you doing this? I really want to watch. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go watch some Muppet movies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
I've honestly been
There's a lot I haven't seen for a long time.
I've been in the Muppets mood after we did First to Worst with the Muppets.
Yeah. You know what? They're probably not even on Disney Plus, though. Because Disney hates the Muppets, clearly.
Yeah. I don't have Disney Plus, so I wouldn't even be able to watch them there. I'd have to watch like bootlegged versions on YouTube.
Well, that's what Disney deserves for erasing the Muppets. That's what they deserve. They don't deserve any profit.
And Muppet erasure.
Yeah. I just saw this survey, and the results are actually shocking to me. 8772 RadioU. Weigh in. I'll ask the question just as it's asked here. Do you think it is acceptable or unacceptable for sports bettors to attempt to distract athletes during a competition in order to influence the outcome of a bet?
Oh, wow.
Yes or no or not sure were the choices. And I'm telling you, when I saw the results, I was like, no way. That's what people think. I can't believe it. But I want to know what RadioU thinks.
Okay.
What do Allie, you want to start? How do you feel about this?
I feel like I would say it is unacceptable in a way, but also if you are at a sporting event and you are there as a fan and it's like a live event, fans try and do this all the time. The first thing I'm thinking of is like basketball with like free throws.
Yep.
Fans try and distract and try and do whatever they can to make sure that the opposing team's player messes up on the free throw and doesn't make the shot. Even if the game's a blowout and they have no chance to win, it's just a part of the game. So in one aspect, I view it as like, doesn't feel quite right to me to want to try and do it for a betting reasons, but also on the other hand, it's like if you're at a live sporting event, you're already going to be doing things to try and distract the other team. Yeah,
I don't think what the reasoning is, I don't think matters as much as what you're actually doing. When I saw this come up at first, I thought it might have been in reference to, I don't know if you saw this clip from a baseball game recently, Allie, I think it was the Braves and Giants, where a fan threw a baseball onto the field while there was about to be a play at the plate at home. There was a throw in from the outfield. And so there was two balls coming onto the field of the actual baseball.
Yeah.
And then a ball from the stands that had flown in. And I was like, was that a person trying to like mess things up for a bet they had or whatever?
Maybe.
And that's why they asked this question, because that's way different. That's interfering. It's not distracting.
Yes, that's totally different. Yes.
And also dangerous. But then I looked into that more, and that they don't know who the fan was or why they did it. So,
it could have been like a little kid. We see kids all the time.
So I don't know what this question is. I don't know why this survey was in reference to anything or if it was. But I'll tell you, Dee texted in not acceptable. She's with the majority of the people here. A vast majority, 77% of people say it's unacceptable for fans, for sports bettors, to try to distract athletes during a competition to influence a bet. If it's something that's within the normal decorum of the sporting event, I don't see why it's unacceptable.
Well, I think the issue with why we're seeing such a discrepancy in what probably would be viewed as acceptable when you're just going to a live event is because of the betting part. You add in that influence the outcome of a bet, and people just get like a little bit with that. I don't know what the best way to describe it is, but you do just feel a little off when it's like, oh, you're trying to influence a bet. Like it just feels a little icky.
But if you're a fan of the other team and you're going, hey, batter, swing, I don't see why that's different than if you're a fan of you winning money.
Well, that is a difference thing. Because you may not, you could be wearing a Sabres jersey or Sabres thing, but suddenly you're trying to distract your own player because you want this certain bet.
Who would do that, though?
I don't know, but I just mean you're out for you and not for your team when you're trying to get yourself a bet win.
It doesn't mean it's unacceptable.
No,
to me.
I don't think I view this as unacceptable because, as you said, if it's during the game and you're just doing what everybody else is doing, your regular things, I don't think that's a huge deal because this is what people do.
Yeah.
But I do think the betting aspect overall just makes it feel a little more icky to our brains.
You want to know what's even crazier? Than this survey, they also asked, should sports bettors who attempt to distract athletes during a competition be banned from betting, sports events, or both?
People said they should be banned?
60% said they should be banned from both things.
Who filled this out?
I don't know.
People who really do not like betting filled this out, it seems like.
You hate betting and you might hate sports too. I don't even know.
I know some people have really strong feelings against sports betting, so no matter what, they're going to hate it.
Anybody who bets on sports is a villain.
Yeah.
Just for doing that.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people have strong feelings with this stuff.
Today, and I can't believe anybody even actually had to say this, 8772 RadioU, the TSA is letting travelers know that a Costco ID is not a replacement for a real ID. they actually had to say this because apparently over the last couple of weeks, there's been posts circulating on social media that claim that TSA agents were letting travelers board flights without a real ID if you have a Costco membership card instead.
How is a Costco membership card on the same level as a real ID, guys? Come on. How did anyone fall for this?
Why would you think that? Do Costco IDs even have your photo on them?
Do they even require you to bring in an address, like proof of address, to sign up for it?
I mean, I know Costco is definitely not associated with the government, right?
No.
So why would that be recognized by any kind of government agency at all as any kind of anything?
That's just, you should just not even try.
You'd be better off bringing in a bank statement or something on your phone.
Exactly. Why not bring in something legit, not a Costco membership? Not saying a Costco membership isn't legit, but like, it seems
it's
like
not a legit ID anywhere outside of Costco.
Right. Like, it seems like the parameters for signing up for that are quite low compared to what the government is looking for. So, yeah, I don't know why this ever was a trend or why anyone ever thought that this would actually work.
It's definitely one of those things that's so foolish that you think, did anybody actually... It's just like Tide Pods, where like, was anybody ever actually doing this?
Right.
Or did people, like somebody did one joke post and then people started sharing it because they thought that was funny, and it got shared so many times that some Dumbo was like... People are actually the actual Dumbo in the story is the one that's thinking that anybody actually would think this. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was a ridiculous trend, but I do remember seeing videos of people doing it. So I have not seen any videos of people actually trying this with TSA, which is a good thing because I feel like you could get a slap in the face from TSA if you tried something dumb like this.
The TSA spokesperson said that showing up with only a Costco card would lead to delays, not a boarding pass. Basically, if you show up without a real ID, passport, or the other approved methods, which Costco IDs are not, you will be notified of your non-compliance and may be directed to a separate area to receive additional screening.
Yeah.
We've seen other people go through TSA with like just a regular driver's license, and in some cases it's just
they hand you a little
simple
pamphlet.
Yeah, but it actually doesn't delay you that much. But anytime you're going to the airport, you don't want to take chances.
Yep.
So just the more certainty you can have, the better. Either get the real ID or just be prepared to have to take extra hours of your day at the airport then on top of what you already may have to wait.
Right. And I feel like there's a lot of misinformation about like how hard it is to get a real ID. It's not that hard. And the craze is over because the deadline thing passed or whatever. And so you don't need to worry about standing for hours in a line to get this. So just go ahead and get it,
But
you know?
The DMV probably wants you to know, too, Costco IDs do not count towards your real ID.
Right. Those are not on the approved list.
Yeah, that's not one of them either. Don't bring them along.
No.
So I feel so bad for this woman in Illinois who claims that she was scammed out of $62,000 by Kevin Costner.
What?
At least someone who claims to be Kevin Costner, of course, had hit her up. And she was convinced enough to fork over, what did we say, $62,000?
Oh, my goodness.
Over a 6-month period to this fake Kevin Costner in exchange for what she was promised, which was her money back in cryptocurrency and more, and she never received that.
Of course not.
The story is that he claimed this scammer claimed to be Kevin Costner, contacted her via Telegram. First of all, and I don't mean a Telegram, I mean the app Telegram.
Yes.
But first of all, nobody legitimate is contacting anybody through Telegram.
No.
If somebody reaches out to you via Telegram telling you they're anything, they're lying to you.
Yes, absolutely.
Ignore them. Why do you even have it?
Why do you even have Telegram?
Why do you even have Telegram? But then if they say they're Kevin Costner and they need you to send them gift cards for whatever I guess he said it was an investment, this person, that also should be a big red flag. Even though of all the actors that could be asking for money, Kevin Costner may be the most believable. He's just like Please, Debbie, I need you to send me $62,000 and I'll finally be able to finish making my American saga.
Yeah.
My Western movies.
Yes.
I'll be able to finish the other 3 I was working on. And I promise I'll pass the profits on to you.
Yes.
You'd be like, don't listen. It's not going to make money, Debbie. He's sinking all of his money into this. Is a waste.
Yeah, total waste. Yeah, no, this is very sad. Unfortunately, I've seen lots of these scams where usually it's an elderly person that's getting scammed out of their money, and it's with celebrities that they love, or the government claiming to be a government agency, or
you owe
their
these
bank.
fines to the Easy Pass or whatever.
Right. It's all it's scams, and unfortunately, I always ask myself, like, who falls for these? But unfortunately, it's those that are not as, well versed.
People with Telegram on their app.
Right. Well, yeah, no, they're not as well versed with, like, the social media stuff and the scams that we see and we're kind of used to because we're used to this ecosystem that we live in now. But for those that didn't grow up in this, it's totally new, and it's unfortunately they're the victims of this most of the time.
It's disappointing. I just want to say, even if this was the real Kevin Costner, you shouldn't give him money.
Yeah, no.
That you cannot trust him with your cash or your gift cards. He's the guy that made Waterworld.
Yeah.
He's a walking waste of money.
Oh, no. I mean, he also made one of the most successful TV shows right now.
And he's blown through that money he made from that, making Westerns that nobody wants to watch.
Right.
That will never even be released.
Yeah.
Don't trust Kevin Costner, the real Kevin Costner, with your money either. I have a new favorite baseball player. 877-2 Radio U. Over the weekend, it was the first meeting of the season between the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees. Obviously, I'm a big Red Sox fan and an even bigger Yankees hater. And I loved seeing this, that Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins said that he would rather retire than ever play for the New York Yankees.
Woo!
Yes, this is what I want to see. And he did kind of back it up, although he did allow Aaron Judge to home run off of him on the very first pitch that Aaron Judge saw in the game last night. Hunter Dobbins still got the win. The Red Sox got the victory. And so he did back it up.
That's
and
the most important part.
Yeah, that's what matters. And so I just love, it's not even, I mean, obviously I'm extra attached to this because I love the Red Sox and I hate the Yankees. But I just like seeing comments like this in sports where the athletes take it as seriously as the fans do.
Right. This is what we like to see. This is the type of, jabs back and forth that we like to see. It adds intrigue, especially to such a long regular season that we have in baseball, where there's so much ebb and flow. There's so much change in the standings and all of that. And so sometimes it can get a little bit, you can get apathetic with it and get a little disinterested. But to add this mix of the, it's already been a rivalry that's lasted for so long.
Yeah.
But to add this little extra hint of actually there is something behind it and the current players do care about it, because these players are from all over. They didn't grow up most of the time in Boston or in New York. And so they have no tie to this rivalry other than these are the teams that they play for currently.
Right. It's just a job to them.
Yeah, it's just a job. And so to see a player that actually cares about this rivalry in this way, it's pretty unique for professional sports.
And he's a rookie too, so he is, it's one thing if you're at the end of your career and you've made a lot of money and you're a star player and you have all the options, and so you'll never come to the place in life where the Yankees would be your only option, where you could just retire. This is, he's staking out this position at the very beginning of his career. He's not made a lot of money. He's a rookie. I'm sure he's made more than most of us, but it's not like he's rich. Or he
set
has
up for life.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars. So it says a little extra coming from him that this is actually personal to him, what he's doing, and that, again, that he's taking it as seriously as any of us fans would. And I would hate whoever said this, but if somebody on the Yankees said the same thing about the Red Sox, that would be a quote I would love to see, and it would just make me hate that player more. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just want I love when the players, especially when they do get paid so much, to actually at least act like they care and they're on the same page as us as fans, where there's a lot of people that go to bed and have trouble sleeping because their team lost that night or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so you want to know that the players are taking it just as seriously as you are.
Absolutely. One of my favorite players, and I am still heartbroken that he is no longer with Cleveland, Josh Naylor. One of my current favorites in MLB right now. Mm-hmm. He is just a player that's very passionate, and he, shows that on the field and shows that in his actions and also backs it up. He's a great player. He's one of the best first basemen in baseball right now. Mm-hmm. And so I love it when I see this type of passion behind the game. I mean, we talked a few months ago about like the whole Canada versus USA in hockey. Like that felt very real. It felt like a moment beyond just the sport that was being played. And there's something to that. There's something to that gets us invested. And I love to see that too.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense. Why should you be invested as much if the players
aren't?
Yeah. And if they're only treating it as just a job, just at least treat it as part of your job is to understand how the fans feel and to carry that with you while you go out there and use that as motivation.
Yes.
So I was happy to see that comment, and especially happy to see it coming from a Boston Red Sox, no less.
Yeah.
Next jersey, I need to get Hunter Dobbins. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.